Hey everyone, this is Roxy. I'm finally getting around to doing another speed paint video. I guess that I'm gonna talk over this one, but I am, unlike the other one, gonna make a version where you don't hear me talking or rambling for maybe 20-ish minutes or so. So if you don't like my voice, or if you don't want to hear me talk for 20-plus-ish minutes, and you want to listen to music or something, feel free to mute it or just click on the other version. I'll have both of these versions linked back to back, of course. So that way you don't have to be just stuck listening to my voice. I'm also kind of less shy this time. I don't really have much of a shyness anymore. Still not used to anyone hearing my voice, but nonetheless, this is me. I actually decided this time that I would accept some questions. So, first and foremost, before I even get into talking about the speed paint, the first question that was asked was by my DA sister, Aria Knight. She asked me two questions. The first one was, what is my dream job? And for that, I actually don't know, because it changed several times over the years. Like in high school, I was pretty dang sure that I was possibly going to be an artist, or that I was going to be an animator at some point. But they changed. Like I went into high school, researched the jobs, I didn't like it that much. I see animation and art more as just hobbies I do on the side. I don't really feel like doing them for payment, like as a full-on this is my job 24 hours thing. So that's why I quit that, and I was going to go to be a veterinarian, but I gave up on that too because me and math are not buddies. So I wasn't going to stay for like 8 years of trigonometry since me and math don't get along. The second thing I'd probably add to that is my dream job, I guess, probably would be anything working around animals or helping people. Like I enjoy helping people as long as there's a good structure to how I help. Like any kind of way I can help take care of someone or just help, it makes me feel happy, even though I'm shy. The second question my sister asked me was what Kaio's backstory was. And I know in another speed paint or something I covered, information about him, but I'm pretty sure none of you could hear me. And in this one, I'm not actually going to bloop music over it because I know that's a problem. And if you can't hear my voice while I'm rambling on in the background, that's gonna be a very huge thing. So if you didn't see that video, don't watch it if you can't hear me. It's kind of badly compilated because I think I was rushing, but nonetheless, I'm probably gonna recap on it. So the way to recap on this is to go back a bit. I never really quite explained what Dark Mirror was, but Dark Mirror, I created this version that sort of works in the same way as Mobius and its prime dimensions, and all the other dimensions work, but I didn't want to call them zones. So instead of calling them zones, I thought to myself for maybe about a week or 2 months, somewhere around that line, what can I do to make this different? How can I put my own twist on it? So I created Mirror Worlds because even though this is going to probably sound weird, the idea came from the concept of these warp rings that are in the Archie comics, and I decided that I was going to use that as a basis, but instead of having the warp rings, they were going to be literal mirrors that parallel and parody each other. So they work the same way as zones, just they could be a lot different. And this particular one, anyone can be any higher up age. Like, the ages are vastly different than the prime selves. So for Dark Mirror, and I jotted down a small note of what Dark Mirror was. One day I will eventually draw scenery or something for it. I'm terrible at backgrounds, but I'll try. But it's an alternate universe that my usual characters that usually aren't too violent. They are now sadistic, evil, violent, sane, crazed, anything around that virtue. They're not good in any way, shape, or form. Not even the same, because if you're thinking it's like anti-Mobius, you're half right. Except there's no such thing as a good person in this dimension. Everyone is completely horrible. Like, everyone. No one's a golden child. So, everyone being evil or sadistic in a way, I get to play around with some of the concepts of characters like even my own Sana. In this dimension, my Sana would be twisted into being someone who's insane. And I did make a concept art for her. Her name is actually Elizabeth, and I might draw her one day in a Speedpaint video, but for now, I don't really care much to. But she was also twisted to be kind of this insane, brooding character too. That's why I probably like this dimension so much, because you can twist something completely interesting and sweet into like a very sadistic thing. But I could twist them into whatever way I want. They don't necessarily have to like be brooding evil. At least not like Kaio. Kaio is a different character, and I just wanted one that was like purely evil. And I remember that I made Kaioki years ago to be a character that was extremely sweet, but he's shy and he has trouble blending in or having friends. Kaio is the complete opposite. He doesn't really give a shiz about friends. He doesn't like people. And the only thing that he really, really takes an interest in is his job. His job is sort of like a deal maker. He's a demon character, and I decided to make him full-fledged because Kaioki's only half. So the concept of what I had with Kaioki being the parent or the primary design aspect I could take from was that I wanted him to have some aspects of him being a demon in some way, shape, or form. So I decided he would be corrupted. What if in this universe, you know, he's a full-on demon, and that's where that concept stems from. So he also does have this funny little fact that I add in, that you can summon him. It's not real, but I mean, I decided that it would be a fun concept that there are people who, in like each mirror dimension, wants to summon him to get something. It's something that I'll bring up in a future comic that I'm actually making. Of course it's a joke, but I still thought that it was pretty fun to play around with that concept, since it's like a fun little quirk that I threw in. But the ritual, you might get to see it eventually when this comic comes out. So, another quirk that I added was horns. Originally he wasn't supposed to have horns, and it was sort of an afterthought thing that I thought, you know, he's a demon. What other things can I play with to draw up the aspect of his design? So I decided that, you know, I would elongate his tail, because I figured, you know, at the time, the long-tailed hedgehogs sound cute. So the other evil aspects, like the horns and his tail being able to change, were secondary afterthoughts. And then as I went on, I just concepted, you know, his horns can change color. And I think I covered most of the plot points of how to read his moods. If not, I do have a character sheet that I'll probably throw up on screen or something that explains each of his horn colors and important key elements, all the colors and stuff. I try to make a alternate sheet that helps explain characters easier. And I don't think I touched up on this in the last video that I talked on him, but he does have a third eye. It's something that it sometimes irritates me when I draw him, because you gotta remember where the placement of that eye is, and you really can't see it past his hair. But it's something that is an important element, because you can always see a small bit of his eye. You can't always see the full one, but you can still see some of it. But that third eye, I think it's just like a camouflage, you know. He can I like to imagine that he can see you if he actually closed his eyes. In that one, I like to imagine that it never really closes. If I do actually go into full-on detail, we all know that what his real name is, but he also has a nickname Pawn, and also his name Sai. If I go further into detail, he actually crushes on my Sada, which is the sonic personification of myself. I thought it would be a fun, quirky little detail, but the fun, quirky detail about their relationship is my Sana is freaking terrified of him because the profession he goes in, he's like a bounty hunter, an assassin, and a murderer all at once, and he's evil, so you gotta keep in mind, like, all the things that I love about him is also stuff that terrifies me somewhat, too. Before I get into his backstory, I guess I kind of would love to touch up on, like, some parts of his, well, maybe not his personality, because I covered that, but just, like, some things that he likes and dislikes. One thing that he really, really likes is getting his way in any way, shape, or form possible. But he dislikes being lied to, and he will literally kill someone for that. That's a fun quirk that I thought I would add, which will tie into his backstory. He also hates sweets. I also wanted the dislike for sweets thing to mirror how, because his story version self loves sugar and sweets. Anything sugar and sweet, he loves it with a passion. Now, this version, he completely freaking hates it. He can't stand the taste of sugar or salt. He also hates seeing his crush with any male he knows is not related to her, because he has a very strong petty jealousy. And I would imagine that he keeps all the pettiness that he has, hidden away. Even if he's not, like, extremely petty, he is going to do something that is extremely messed up. I never mentioned this, but I also have a tendency to go in and pick certain colors that I would consider would be a favorite color for my OC. I like to research, the meaning of each color and try to piece together, if it was something that they like. Like, for me, I love purple. It's not anything in association to royalty, but it's just, purple can be associated, believe it or not, with, I believe, there's violet, and I know that I love any shade of purple, but violet is mostly associated with actually being introverted, where you're shy, and I tend to be very introverted myself. But Kaio, I would imagine that his favorite color is black, which black is a color associated with the hidden and secretive things, unknown stuff. Something that you could keep bottled up emotions from and stuff like that. So I'd imagine, he's the type of person that would like black, and black represents him because the color black is just a mystery, and you could keep all these things hidden about yourself that no one would ever really know about. And finally, to answer my sister's question, because I never posted this up on DeviantArt because I feel like Toy House just has a nicer way of me keeping things neater, because I'm somewhat of a neat freak and like some type of order. I decided to post his bio on Toy House. As his bio, he actually never had horns or any of the unknown abilities that he has now. He actually only had psychic abilities like his mom, and could read emotions, alter emotions, and read minds, as his mother was a psychic inheriting user. And his mother's name was Akanya Akio. And Akanya, during his childhood, would lie to him, which she only did this to avoid trouble. So he, after a long amount of time being lied to by his mom, hearing that Akanya would lie, he began to hate lies. He wanted truth. He didn't want lies or sugarcoatings of things. He just wanted the truth. So after 10 years of living a seemingly normal life, boring life, when he was 10, his father I'm gonna call him Haku for short. Hakusade is his real name, but Haku came to finally claim him. So Akinya kept on trying to convince him to actually let him stay with her, because Akinya, actually, believe it or not, could not bear children, and she wanted a child. So seeing that Haku wanted to take his son, she wanted to keep her child for a longer period of time, till he was about 15 or 18. But his father knew what kind of woman she was and murdered her right in front of him, because that's great parenting. And when his mom died, he took sides with his father. At first it was just, protection, but after a while they developed a weird father-son close relationship where, him being evil, his dad loved taking care of him, but teaching him to be evil too. They just were evil together, and dad just took care of his son until, he became an adult. And then he became the brooding little hellspawn that he is today. And his father actually was the one who nicknamed him Pawn. Now, another thing that I want to point out is that he does know the Dark Mirror version of Jessica, which is King Jesse. King Jesse and him have like an abusive roommate relationship, and I like to think that, at one point they did have something going on, but he's not the type of person that wants to be in a real relationship with someone like her. He just wanted a platonic one. His fun quirk is just that he loves to destroy anything and everything he comes into contact with, but if it's his crush, he doesn't want to do anything bad to her. He just wants to continue to try to persuade her to like him. And some fun things before I completely go off into the Speedpaint, probably discussing it a bit, is nice little facts that I don't think I shared last time, but here it is. He stalks his crush to the point of unnatural over obsession. He has a obsessed infatuation with his crush that leads into yandere personality. Like, if someone and he knows this person likes his crush, he's gonna try to attempt to harm you, because to him, that's his world. Don't touch. He also likes to tease his crush by calling her Mrs. Akio, because again, infatuation. He really likes her. He's also extremely territorial over her, and has a very deep obsession with the color black. I don't think I ever pointed this out because I never drew it in his ref, but I like it now. He does have a sharp tongue. It's split, and he does have sharp teeth. Somewhere in the Speedpaint, around some point, probably this point or something, you'll see that when I was drawing him in his in the anti box, because he is the anti technically, that he has a split tongue. I did that on purpose because I like to think, maybe he has a split tongue, or at least he maybe likes the aesthetic of having a snake tongue. Because at one point it was fully put a full tongue without the snake split, but now isn't. I also like to believe that he has an infatuation with edgy stuff, so he has that. I'm not really sure quite where in the Speedpaint we would be at this point, but there's a couple of forms that I feel like I would love to explain from my reasoning of making them. For the robot one, I changed his tail from being a bladed demon one to being plugged, because I had the idea of, what if he became kind of virus-like? And that would be his reasoning as a robot, to be virus. And for a human, I struggled several times because I wasn't sure, if I would give him dark skin or not. I liked the dark skin, but it didn't really suit the aesthetic, and I think that now he should still be a little bit paler. He's not... It's fine though, probably as is. In Arabian Nights, I actually have no freaking idea what he would be. I don't know if he would be a djinn or not. And for the Wisp, my inspiration came from the Lightning Wisp, because I love that one. And then the Chow, derivative from Shadow's Chow. And riders, I just thought it would be kind of cool to slap him in sort of a military-ish outfit. I'm not going to say what any of the Japanese means, because they're both, well, the one on his shirt is a bad word, and the one and the scarf just means fight me. That's literally all it means. And for the last one that I want to talk about is the Dark Knight, because I was excited about doing this one at the most. Kind of the Werehog too, but the Werehog I just wanted fluff. But for Sonic and the Dark Knights, I just wanted to play upon, I think he would be some kind of actual Dark Knight. I don't imagine him being one of the good guys. He's one of those people that would probably just fight just because he wants to kill someone or something. So I was excited with just experimenting. And originally I was going to give him a sword, but then I just felt like, an axe, since Sir Gawain had one in the story back when I used to have the game 1,000 years ago. I thought it would be more fun to actually add in that tidbit, because it seemed like the best course of action, so I gave him that instead of an actual sword. So that was mostly all my reasonings, and I hope that at least in this video you could probably understand me better, and that this does answer some questions and there's no confusion.